All right, so let's start with the big story that we're tracking on WION this hour, where the United Kingdom, it appears, has yet again become an epicenter of the COVID-19 outbreak in Europe. And Prime Minister Boris Johnson's Conservative government is currently facing immense criticism and anger from people over its handling of the pandemic. The crisis facing Britain this winter is depressingly familiar, with hospitals overflowing, renewed lockdowns and stay-at-home orders. The virus outbreak has once again brought Britain to a standstill. The authorities have blamed the new coronavirus variant for the recent spike in cases. The ongoing crisis has sparked discontent amongst the masses. The critics say that Johnson's government's slow response in handling the crisis has yet again escalated the outbreak. Now, more than 3 million people in the United Kingdom have already tested positive for COVID-19, and over 80,000 people have lost their lives. The economy has shrunk by almost 8%, and more than 800,000 jobs have been lost, and thousands of workers have been furloughed and are in a bit of a limbo. Now, amidst the rising criticism, the United Kingdom has announced to speed up its mass vaccination drive. The country is to open 7 mass vaccination centres from today, and these will join the 1,000 other healthcare facilities across the country. Thousands of people in England aged 80 and above have received invitations to get their coronavirus vaccines. Officials have said on Sunday, as Britain is ramping up its national vaccination programme in a bid to meet its target of inoculating almost about 14 million people by the middle of February. The healthcare workers on Saturday said that they were feeling hopeful that the centres will help the country, which is grappling with a surge in the number of cases.
And it's a way that we'll hopefully be able to get through the different numbers. So, as I've already said, the GP surgeries and the acute hubs have already started this fantastic work. But really, to be able to get through the numbers and really start going through those different cohorts and getting as many people as vaccinated as possible, we need more and more sites.
Remember, England went into its 3rd nationwide lockdown last week with an order for the public to stay at home unless they need to leave the house for essential reasons such as shopping, for essential supplies or for going out for work. The officials are hoping that a speedy mass vaccination rollout will help get Britain out of its 3rd national lockdown, which was brought in place to curb the surge in the number of infections. All right, now to get us more insights in terms of what is actually happening in Britain, we are joined in by Mandy Clark. She's joining us live from London. Mandy, thank you very much indeed for joining us on this broadcast on WION. And let me begin by asking you this: how bad is the situation presently in Britain, and why are people so angry with Boris Johnson?
It is the worst it's ever been regarding to the situation. These numbers are much greater than we even saw during the first spike. Of course, there's more testing, but it's largely down to this new variant that spread so quickly. It's overwhelming the hospitals, and during the first wave, of course, those doctors were ready. Now there's a level of fatigue because they've been going through a very difficult time for over a year. There's no real resupply of doctors, so there's a level of exhaustion too. So it's the worst it's ever been, and everyone is pretty tired. Now, the new variant explains how the spread has happened, but really there is massive question marks around how it's been handled, and that is down to the leadership of Boris Johnson. It's the indecision that has really infuriated a lot of people. Of course, around Christmas time, he says absolutely go for Christmas. Then 3 days before Christmas, he says no, Christmas is cancelled. On Sunday, he said schools are open. Children went to school on the Monday. On Tuesday, he closed it. So it's this frequent indecision that leaves everyone in the back foot, teachers, hospital workers, and there is why we have enormous amounts of anger we're seeing from the population towards the government, that lack of clarity, that mixed messaging. So when the first time we had that lockdown, there was a high level of compliance to the regulations. We're seeing a waning. More people are willing to break the rules because they're simply tired of the lockdown. We know there will be likely now tighter restrictions because we are seeing people break those rules, and the virus doesn't seem to be containing. We're not seeing the drop yet. We are only expecting that drop to happen a bit later on, but there will likely be police ensuring people hold to those rules, which we didn't see last time.
Absolutely indeed. Now, Britain, in fact, became the first nation in the world to roll out its vaccination program. How is Britain progressing on that front? And the fact that there is a vaccine that is now available, is it something that's actually made the people a little bit more complacent in actually, in following the social distancing guidelines?
Yes, and I think this is where the government is pinning all its hopes in, is the rollout of the vaccine and making sure that this vaccine reaches as many people as quickly as possible. We are seeing the rollout working out fairly effectively. It's still the early days.
And a new strain of the virus was detected in 4 travellers who arrived in Brazil's Amazonas state, and all 4 of them have now been quarantined at the Tokyo International Airport. 3 travellers reportedly are showing symptoms, while 1 is said to be asymptomatic. Now, experts have said that the Brazil variant is actually quite different from the United Kingdom and the South Africa strain, as there is no proof to show that it is highly infectious. However, the Brazil strain shares certain common mutations with the United Kingdom and South Africa variants. Meanwhile, studies are underway to